Today we will learn more about Dataverse, like the tables in Dataverse, how we can create a custom table, what type of tables that are available, and how we can enable attachment within any table that we have it within Dataverse. So last month, actually, I did one session about actually two sessions related to Dataverse, like the introduction about what's Dataverse and what kind of things that we can do with the Dataverse. And also, the second session was about the tables. What do we mean by tables, and from where can we get an access to any Dataverse? So we did a quick overview about Dataverse and tables that we have it within Dataverse. But in our session today, we will do a live demo and we will go through Dataverse site and we will check all this stuff. So let me try now to open the Power Apps and we will do a different live demo and different exercise together. So first step, what we need to do actually, we need to open Power Apps. And if you don't have a license, so I'm gonna share with you the link from how you can sign up for the free first for Power Apps and from where you can get started. So as we know, in Dataverse, actually, we have something we call it tables. And let me open it. How can I get an access to Dataverse? Once you open Power Apps, you will be able to see here something we call it Dataverse. And from there, there's different types here. We have a tables, we have a choices, we have a data flows, and more. But our main focus today will be on tables and what do we mean by tables and how we can create tables, what kind of types of tables we have within Dataverse. As we know, in Dataverse, actually, a table is a logic structure, and it's the main thing actually that we can record our data. And Dataverse actually tables are different from any simple database table. And why I'm saying that? Because actually they have been like 100 properties that are used to define relationships between other standard tables and how the tables are used within the Dynamics solution from Microsoft. Actually, later on, I'm going to share with you a link will help you to go through different document that we have it from Microsoft Learn. And you can find all these link within the meetup session that I already added to my meetup group. Okay. So let me open tables and let me give you a quick overview about what kind of tables we have. I will give you a quick overview about the types of tables that we have it. We have a standard table, we have a complex table, and we have restricted table and custom table. So there is four different types of table. We will understand more and more about it while we are doing a lot of example, a lot of live demo in upcoming sessions. So as I mentioned, just remember that we have four types of tables within Dataverse: standard, we have a complex, we have a restricted, and we have a custom table. And within the upcoming session, each time you will be able to see what's the difference between. So if you look at here, you will be able to see the type. Like here we have a standard table. Here we have, let me show you a custom table, which is the one that we created on our previous session. So, but here we don't have a restricted. Yeah, we have both custom and the standard. Later on, we will learn what's the difference between each part, like a standard, what's the difference between custom. But let me give you a quick intro about what do we mean by standard and what do we mean by custom. So standard actually it's the base set of tables that are created for every Dataverse database actually. So by default, when you open your Dataverse, you will be able to see all the standard table that we have it here. And you can add more columns to any table. For example, if I open this table address, I can add any column to my table, the standard table. But what we cannot do actually, we cannot delete any column from a standard. So this is the difference between the standard. So if I open this table, let me try now to open it. And if we see here, we can add a column. But let's try, are we able to delete? We are not able. Why? Because it's a standard table, that's why. What's the difference between standard and custom? Now we already aware about the standard that we can add a column to the table that we have it, but we cannot delete any column. And actually the tables already created by default. Second one, which is the custom tables. And the custom, actually, it's like the one that you created by yourself. It depends on your license that you have it. And for example, this one, agent 008, I created by myself. And within our example today, we will create our custom table. We will not create a standard table, we will create a custom. From the name itself, custom, it means you are the one who will customize your table, you are the one who will create it, and you are the one who will add all the columns to your table. So I hope that I explain it in a basic way to make sure that you will understand it. But while we are doing a lot of example, you will be able to understand more and more what's the difference between each part. For the restricted and the complex tables, we will go through it later on within the upcoming session. Now, we will create our custom table. As we know, let me give you a quick overview how we can create any custom table. From where should I start? Then we will do a live demo, or we will do an exercise together that we have it from Microsoft Learn. But let me show you the step that if I want to create any custom table, what should I do? As I mentioned, when you open your Power Apps, you need to go to Dataverse. And from there, you can select tables. And once you select tables, based on your environment, if you have a license to create any table, you will be able to see this one, it's enabled for you. If you don't have, it will be disabled. You can read new table, but you cannot click on it and you cannot add any new table. But here, because within my environment, I have the permission to add a table. So that's why I'm able to see this button and I can click on it. So from here, when I click in a new table, I will be able to add the name of my table. Also, I can add, like, if I have any primary name, also I can create it from there. So this is the easiest way to create any new table within your Dataverse. What we will do now, let me share with you the link. Just a minute, that I have it from Microsoft Learn, so that will help you to follow my example. Just a minute. Okay, I'm gonna share it now. So our session actually today, based on this path that we have it from Microsoft Learn. Let me copy and paste the link. Here we go. So if we go to the documents and if we go to the lab, there is a unit number, I think 5, which is lab, create a new custom table and enable attachment. So either you can follow my steps now, or you can go to the lab and read whatever they have and try to follow the step. But either way, I'm gonna do it now with you. So how we can create any new custom table? As we know, from Power Apps, we go to Dataverse, click on table, and what we will do now, we will create our first table. And within the example, they mentioned that we would like to call it PC manufacturers. And let me add it here, just a minute. And by default here, when you add the name, by default, you will be able to see it here. And here we have another name, which is coming with C or something, right? What do we mean by this? Actually, they are adding more about it, which is, it's similar to the ID or unique ID that we have it for any tables within any environment within Dataverse. And you can read more about it. This is the powerful things here. If you don't know, for example, what do we mean by name? Here they mention it's a table and it's the unique name across your environment. And the table will be generated for you based on the display name that you have entered. So whatever we are adding here, we are able to see it here. But we cannot add any space here actually. So for example, if I add any new number, we're supposed to have it here and based on this one. So let me remove it now and let me add it again. Okay, here we go. Display name, let me here the primary name, it means, let me call it here another PC manufacturer, main table, or main one, so I can recognize it. And either here we have another options. Now I already add the name, something really easy. I just need to click on create. So once I click on create, we're supposed to see it here. We are able to to see the columns, the relationship, the different type of things that we can do within our tables. Let me go back to our main page for tables and let me show you here. This is our table that we created. And actually, you will get a notification once your table is already created and there is no error, something, if there's any error or something, we'll be able to see it here. So here it showed me that the table already created and everything is fine. Now I will be able to see here the table name, also the name that we created based on the environment, if it's custom or standard. And here we go. What if I want to add any columns to my table? What if I want to do any modification? How can I do this? So you just need to click here and more. And from there, you can delete your table, the custom table actually. But for the standard table, we cannot. We can edit, we can add column, but we cannot delete it. But here, because it's a custom table, you are able to delete it. And from here, you can see delete table, edit, and we have AI builder and more things. Don't worry, all this stuff, we will learn it on upcoming session. So once I click on edit, you will be able to see this page. By default, you will see like different columns already available within your table, like created by, created on, modified by, similar to the SharePoint list. And if you are familiar with the SharePoint list, like we have a specific columns already by default created there. You can enable it, you can disable it, but you cannot delete it actually, because it's like a part of our it's a standard of our table or of our SharePoint. But here we are talking about tables. And the powerful things here, we are able to see what type of columns we have. For example, this one, it's standard. It means by default, we have it for any table that we created within our Dataverse. We cannot do anything. For example, here I cannot delete it because it's standard. But for example, this one, it's a custom one, right? Because you remember when we added the primary name column, which is the main column that we have it. So here we have it because it's the primary one. And the primary one, even the primary one, you cannot delete it. But if I would like to add more columns, is it possible to add any more columns that within our tables? Yes, we can add. And you can delete whatever you are adding to your table, because it's we supposed to have it as a custom column. For example, here, if I would like to add, so we have our main table for PC manufacturers, but what if I would like to add like an ID number? How can I do this? I know the ID number is supposed to be as ID or number data type, right? So how can I do this? From your table, the one that you selected, once you open columns here, you are able to see something here. We call it add a column. And once I click on it, I will be able to give a name to my column. So for example, ID number. And as we mentioned here, by default, we will get this name. And here we go. From here, we can change the data type. Data type, it's very important things for your Dataverse tables. You need to understand your data so you will be able to get the correct data in your application or anywhere that you are using Dataverse. For example, here, I know that the ID number is supposed to be as a number, not as a text, right? So from there, I just need to add the correct one. For example, if you have email, if you have a phone number, if you have the whole number, duration, time zone, whatever you are looking for, you can do it. And why the data type is very important, because if you are planning to build an application by using a data first and you want the user to enter specific data. So for example, if I would like the user to enter a phone number and my column is like a text. So for sure, if they enter any numbers or anything, maybe we will get a wrong number or wrong rules that we added to our column. So that's why you need to understand your table. You need to understand your data and what kind of type of data that you want to add to your table. So for example, here, our ID number is supposed to be as a whole number. So I'm going to select the whole number. Here we go. And if you notice here, actually they divided to be as a four, almost like four type or something or more. So here we have a text, and under text we have a different types of things. So for example, we have a text area, email, URL, and so on. We have a whole number, and you can see the different type of the whole number. We have a time, date and time, date only. And we have a choices here, different things. We have a currency, a lot of things that you can do here. Okay, so now I have the column name, I have the data type. Here, required. What do we mean by required? Required, it means when I'm start to add a Dataverse within my application and I'm asking the user to fill a specific form, okay? And I put this one to be as a required or recommended or required. If it's required, it means they cannot click on submit or they cannot submit their data unless they fill this column. Otherwise, they are not able to fill or they are not able to submit their form. If it's optional, it means they can proceed by clicking on submit, and whatever they are adding to their form, we will store it to our Dataverse. But if it's required, they cannot recommend it. Even recommended, actually, they can click on submit and they can save their data. It's fine. They will not get any pop-up message or any error. But if it's required, it means they need to fill the form. So now we will make it as an optional. And here, when we click on this one, it means the user, for example, if they want to search, for example, here we make it as an ID. Maybe you would like to add a text or a drop-down menu or something or choices. It means when you make it that this one, you add the check here, you will give an option to the user to search by maybe by number, by text, it depends. Once they click the name or something, they will be able to see whatever we are having or whatever we are having within our Dataverse. For example, I would like to add a number, ID number 1234, and once I start to put it within the search, I will be able to see this number already added to my Dataverse. Okay, calculated here. Do you have any calculation? Do you have any roll up or something? You can add it here. For example, if there is any calculation, you need to actually, I need to save it, then I can, we will do it later on. So if you have any calculated or any option that you would like to calculate, you can add it because it's a number. A description here, you need to like add specific things like please add your number or something related to your column to describe. Also, we have here advanced options like do you want to add or enable column security? For example, here, if you don't know what do we mean by column security, you can click here and you can read more about it. And also, if you have any minimum value, maximum value, you can add it here. And all these advanced options, it depends on that data type. For example, here we have a number. Maybe in other scenario you have a text. So it depends from one type to another. So now I already added all what data that I want to have it within my column. I just need to click on done. And once I click on done, by default, we're supposed to see it here. Here we go. And it's a custom column. That's why I'm able to delete it because it's a custom column. If it's standard, like this one, I cannot delete it. So now the question, what if I want to enable attachments? Sometime, actually, I would like to let the user to add the specific attachments to the form or to the application or whatever we are having within our business case. So how can I do this? Here, actually, if I'm looking here, I have a created by, modified by, but I couldn't see any attachments column, right? But in SharePoint list, by default, we have attachments. You just need to enable it. But here we don't have it. I need to do another step. So how can I add it or how can I enable the attachments? Within the SharePoint, it's something easy. I just need to go to the list view, modify the view, and from there enable whatever I have from the standard column. Here, how can I enable? Actually, what I need to do, for example, here, you need to open your table and from there, let me go back just a minute. Sorry, let me save the table. Sorry. After you add your column, you need to save your table to make sure that the column that you added is already saved. Okay. So after we saving the column, how can I enable now the attachments? Once you go to like for example here our PC manufacturers table, there is something here we have it, we call it settings. And once you click on it, you are able to change a few things. You are able to enable the attachments. And if we look at here, enable attachments. And once I mark it like with, I put the check mark and save, we supposed what when we use the Dataverse on Power Apps, we are able to see, or we are able to give the functionality to the user to add their files as attachments. So this is what do we mean by attachment. It means the user will be able to add their attachments, even if we are not able to see it here, but they are able to add their files from the Dataverse. Okay, so let me go back to the table. Just a minute. Here we go. Now, what if I want to delete this table? Now we create something we call PC manufacturers, but now do I need, or the question here, can I delete any custom table from my tables within the Dataverse? Let's try it. Yes, we can because it's a custom, but if it's standard, we cannot. So let me try to delete this one, agent 008. Let me delete the table. So whatever I'm deleting from my tables, actually, if I'm using this data first on a specific application, and once you open it, you will not be able to see it anymore. So just be careful when you try to delete anything, make sure to delete the correct one. So let me try now, but I'm not sure if we can, for example, if I delete some tables and I would like to return it back to my Dataverse, if there is any way, I'm not sure. I just need to double check and I will let you know. And here actually, it's still deleting, but now we are able to see the attachment standard tables here if we look at it. So because we enabled it, but let us see. So don't worry, actually on upcoming session, we will build our application by using a Dataverse, and we will see how we can store the data. It's something really easy. The most important things for you to understand how we can build the tables, because the tables is the key things within our Dataverse if we are going to use the Dataverse within our apps. So understanding the tables is the first step for you. Later on, how we can add it to our apps, how we can build it, something really easy. It's similar how we are dealing with the SharePoint. So let me go now. We deleted already the agent 008. We are not able to see it anymore. But now let me go to the PC and let me try go to data here. So the other functionality that we have it within tables within the Dataverse, that you can edit the data in Excel. You can export your data and you can get the data. For example, I have the BC manufacturers. I know all the columns. I added all my columns. What if I have an Excel that having the same columns but with like 100 items, and it's really hard for me to add it manually or copy paste or whatever. So is it possible to add whatever I have from my Excel and add it directly to my tables within Dataverse without doing anything, just with that, with by clicking on one thing, which is get data from Excel or get data? Yes, and there is a session that I will do it, I think, next week. Let me check my meetup. We will do a specific session how we can add the data from get data. Just a minute, let me check the meetup. Yes, we have a session. Now I think next Saturday, 23rd of October, on how we can load, export data, and create data within the Dataverse. So we will learn how we can get the data, how we can edit, how we can export. Export data, it's something easy. For example, if I have a lot of items here and I would like to export it to be as a Excel and work on it, I can do this. It's fine. You can do it by just one click. How we can add a new leak or all this stuff, AI builder, we will learn it later on. So what I really need from your side as a homework to make sure that you're already familiar on how we create the tables, try to log in or sign in to Power Apps. Second step, try to follow the lab that I added to the chat, which is the same example that we did it today. Create your first table, call it whatever you want, add columns, like what kind of columns that you want to have. Like maybe you can use the same example PC manufacturers, or you can use another example, it's fine. Add a different type of columns from your to your table, and but don't add any data because we will add it later on upcoming session next week. And also try to see the different type of tables of columns. Look at it here, try to to delete some tables, remove something, try to understand more about it. Plus I would like from you to enable the attachment similar way that what we did today, to make sure that you know how to build your or to create your first table. On upcoming session, let me show you what we will have on upcoming session. On upcoming session, we will have, which is this one, load and export data. We will go through different things like how we can view data within table, how we can create or edit the views that we have it on data. You remember on the previous session, we did a very quick on how we can see the views and how we can change it, but we did not do that much of things. So we will do it in more details, how we can load data into a table, export, how we add, update, delete table by using Excel. So we will do a lot of things, how we can import the data using Power Query, and how we can generate a new data flow. So if you want to prepare for the next session, go to the site that I have it here. Look at the documents that we have it. So there is a lot of cool stuff. We will do it next week. So this is for loading and export data. And for the session today, you can go here to the session today and just look at the link that we have it and review whatever we have. And one more thing before I end the session, what I really need from your side, you can go here to this site, the one that I shared with you. After you finish reading, if you want, or if you don't want to read the whole articles, you can go check your knowledge. It will take not more than 5 minutes. It's just the 3 questions. You can answer it, but make sure to create your profile because you can collect a point. And once you answer it, even if it's wrong answer, you can retake it. It's fine. So just to test your knowledge, and from there you can collect a points to store it within your Microsoft Learn profile. So thank you so much, team. And if you have any question, you can ask me now, or you can reach me out at any time. And by the way, the session will be recorded and stored within my YouTube. And also, if you want to go, let me show you one link. And all my sessions, all my stuff, it's already stored and save it within Agent 008. Let me show you here for the upcoming session. You can go here, you can check, and also for the sessions here, I already added all my previous session for Power BI within my website. Let me share it with you within the chat. And we have also for the Power Apps session. So feel free to go to the site, check all the documents, all the videos that we have it there, and review whatever you want. And as I mentioned, if you want to reach me out, I'm available on different social media platforms. So thank you so much, team. Do you have any question? You can subscribe even here. If any new session available, you will receive a notification. So thank you so much, team. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.